What's up, everybody? I'm Sara.
I'm Shauna.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Bobby. And this is Speaking of Missing Persons. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Speaking of Missing Persons, and welcome to the new listeners. Before we get started on today's episode, a few things we wanted to throw out there. We have another show, Speaking of Murders. Make sure you go check that out. We also have a Patreon where we're putting up bonus episodes every other Saturday, so don't forget to check that out. Wherever you're listening, hit the like button, subscribe button, follow button, whatever button, so you don't miss out on any of our new episodes. Leave us 5 stars, and if you want to see photos associated with the episodes, check our socials. Everything's linked in the show notes, episode notes, all that. If you have a case you want to hear on the show, send that to our email, speakingofmissingpersons@gmail.com. And A1 Paula.
I was going to say, speaking of that.
Yep, Paula, what's her last name?
Morgan.
Paula Morgan sent over today's case as a request. So Shauna's going to be telling that for us. Shauna, what's this person's name?
Mikelle Biggs.
Okay.
Now, if I start pronouncing it wrong, sorry.
So, and I understand there really isn't a whole lot of information out there.
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, tell us what you did find.
Mikelle was born May 31st, 1987. She lived in Mesa, Arizona. She was 11 years old and in the 6th grade when all of this took place.
Okay. So it would have been, what, 98?
99.
99? Okay. I gotcha.
She was described as being super smart. She had dreams of being a Disney animator. She was gifted musically and played clarinet. She was even an honor roll student.
Nice.
On January 2nd, 1999, Mikelle and her little sister Kimber were riding their bikes and waiting for the ice cream man. So
Remember, it's Arizona.
Okay. That's right. Because I'm sitting here like,
it's okay.
you're waiting for the ice cream man on fucking January 2nd? Like, what?
It's described as cool, but not freezing. So
yeah, like a
55.
Like a chill 60.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably like high 60s,
Okay.
which is like most people's like dream weather.
Yes.
Not me. I want it to be like in the mid 70s.
It has to be over 72.
I don't know what to tell you. What's it called? The people who like the rainy days?
I don't remember the word.
I'm one of those people.
I don't
I would
remember the
be
word.
happiest in Seattle, surrounded by greenery and rainy all the
Ugh.
time.
Nope, I was so
I don't wanna
depressed
be moist.
yesterday.
Send me to Washington State.
I don't want to be like my clothes and my hair are always wet and moist and bleh.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Also, I don't want to be anywhere near sand. I'd rather have snow.
I wouldn't go that far. But while they were waiting for the ice cream truck to roll around, Kimber got cold. And so she told Mikelle that she was going to go home and just grab a jacket real quick. One of the articles that I read said that their mom told Kimber to be like, hey, Mikelle, come home. So obviously
she went in to get a coat, and her mom
was
said,
like,
you
hey,
need to
send
go
her home.
to go get your sister. It's time for you guys to come home.
Right. So by the time that Kimber had returned to the spot where she had left Mikelle, it had only been 90 seconds and Mikelle was gone.
Wait a minute.
Holy Jesus!
There's
That's just
no
a
way.
little over
They were
a minute.
They were literally right outside their front door.
Oh, okay.
They were right there.
They were riding in like their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they would have to be like right outside their house for her to just, for a minute and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the police actually looked into this and they They timed Kimber doing this, and it took not even 90 seconds.
Man.
Shit.
The only thing left where Mikelle was her bike with the wheel still spinning and 2 quarters.
Oh, shit.
So her sister
So-
came out like right after she
Yeah,
got snatched.
she had to have been like snatched off the bike while the wheels were still moving.
Yeah, I mean, either way, she had to be snatched off the bike, and it had to have been into a car.
Ugh.
Yeah. Tracy, Mikelle's mom, well, Kimber like ran home and was like, "Hey, Mikelle's not there. Like she's gone." So Tracy, Mikelle's mom, sent Kimber to the neighbor, like around the neighborhood, because like this was a close, like knit neighborhood. Like they were all friends and stuff,
Right.
to check to see if she maybe went into one of the neighbors' houses. So Kimber goes to one of their closer friends' houses and asks, and they're like, "No, she's not here." But then the older son was like, "Oh, I'll help you look." So they went around for 30 minutes asking everyone if they'd seen her.
It's like a catch-22. Like, you don't want to automatically go to the bad part of, like, she got kidnapped. So you're going to search around. But at the same time, that's, like, precious moments that you're losing.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you overreact and immediately call the police? Or do you search around the neighborhood first? Like, that would be a tough call.
I really think it depends on the circumstances. In those specific circumstances where all of a sudden she's just gone, her bike's still there, tire's still spinning, that kind of thing, I'm calling the cops. But if it's her and the bike are both gone and she could have just taken off a few houses down
Yeah,
or a
true.
street over, okay. Like, that's circumstantial.
That's what I was gonna say. It's the point that would make me, panic is the fact that the bike and her ice cream money are still laying there.
Yeah, I would have.
Because if
freaked out.
she's just gonna be like, well, I'm sick of waiting for my little sister, which I mean, she barely had a minute to have that thought, and go to a neighbor's house, she would have rode her bike to the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
wouldn't have left her ice cream money on the ground.
It's just crazy to me because you're like 30 minutes have now gone by.
It will, in that 30 minutes, every neighbor they had talked to had come out to start looking. So everyone is searching for her in
Nice.
this neighborhood.
Oh, that's
Okay,
good.
That's good.
Unfortunately, though, there were no witnesses and no one had heard anything. The only clue that they really had to go on was that there was a copper-colored Jeep spotted in the neighborhood around the time that she went missing. Police had also gotten so many tips about this Jeep, but they never went anywhere. So basically, the police, the second they were called, they started their investigation. And this community came the fuck together. Like, they donated so much food, it was being stored at neighbors' houses. They were donating money for flyers. They were billboards. You fucking name it. The community came together for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good.
Even like places like Florida were donating to this family and trying to like spread the word around Florida, and like it went national quickly.
Wow.
They only ever had 2 real suspects in Mikelle's disappearance. One being her own dad.
Of course.
His name is Darren Biggs.
Were they divorced?
No, they got divorced after this, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Darren had originally told police during the first interview that he was at work when she had went missing. But it later came out that that was false. And he was actually staying at he was actually like hanging out with a friend. Now, I'm assuming that he lied because he was supposed to be at work. Like, that's where Tracy thought he was.
Right.
Was this friend a woman?
It never said.
Hmm.
It didn't sound like that, but it never said. Darren had also failed a polygraph test, but they think that that could have been due to, like, just his emotional state. Like, his daughter did just go missing.
Right.
So They also watched him for over a year before they completely cleared him. Like, they followed him
damn.
around.
Shit.
Good.
That's honestly surprising, I feel like.
I
I don't feel like they follow people for very long,
No,
typically, in most
because they don't
stories
have
that
the
we read.
they don't have the manpower or the money to do that. I read that he was mostly a suspect because people thought he was weird and
A loner.
a loner. That was like the only reason.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So his...
Personality, pretty much.
I was going to say,
made
he
him
was
suspect.
he was a suspect
Which I
purely
meant
on,
to
like,
write that down.
personality basis.
Yeah, it was literally just because he kept to himself and
Yeah, he didn't do very much. That's
yeah.
why I don't think that he was at a girl's house. I
Mhm.
think that he was like just skipping work to hang out with like a buddy.
All right. Kind of weird, but whatever.
The other suspect in this case was a man named D. Block. Okay, well, we're just going to call him D. He only lived a few blocks away from Mikelle's house. He was also... Okay, so when he was talked to, he said that he had, like, been watching football all day or that he had been in his garage all day, which was confirmed by his wife. And he was never really completely dropped as a suspect in her disappearance. But, like, his alibi was confirmed by his wife.
But she could have been lying.
But
pretty
she could have
much.
been lying. Like, it is totally possible. He was interviewed years later while in prison because he had been arrested for beating and raping a neighbor. And he was
Interesting.
serving 15 years for that. He also had a record for sexual assault, child molestation, and kidnapping.
Really?
Is that why he became a suspect in the first place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But with no evidence, they couldn't really convict him of the crime.
Right.
But the woman that he had beaten and raped had believed so wholeheartedly that he kidnapped Michaela and did something to her. Mikelle, I'm sorry. And that he had like done something bad to her that she offered to drop the charges she had filed against him if he confessed.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, except why would he do that? Because
Yeah,
It'd be a
he-
bigger charge.
it would be a bigger charge.
Well, I mean, assuming it would be a murder charge. I would
Right.
I
think.
mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
Unless it was, kidnapping and he sold her to some trafficker.
Yeah, who really knows? But of course he wouldn't. Like we said, he'd probably get a larger sentence if he did.
If it's him.
Right. The Biggs family sent him a bunch of letters in prison and even visited him to see if he would tell them the truth. They like really thought it was him also. He again maintained his innocence, and his wife again was like, no, he had a fucking alibi. I was there. I saw him.
Yeah, if even after he did that and he's in prison and she's still standing by that alibi for him, I tend to think it's true.
Well, he is getting out in 15 years, so maybe not.
I thought he got like 100 and some years in
I
prison.
read both. But 15 years seems more plausible for beating and raping a neighbor than 185.
I don't know. I read he got 185 years.
Either or. We're going to go with 15. It sounds more plausible. And if that's the case, and he did get out in 15 years, and the wife was like, actually, I lied, who's to say he wouldn't try to kill her?
Well, if he actually committed this crime, kidnapped this girl, did whatever, killed her, sold her, whatever, and the wife had the alibi, but then he's in prison for something else, and she breaks her silence, he's
would've-
not coming back out.
Yeah, he wouldn't have come back out. The thing about it is, though, is like
Couldn't
maybe
would
she
be
was
charged.
afraid of getting drugged down with him,
Oh, if she was partially involved somehow?
Well,
like
yeah.
knowing, like accessory.
True.
I think it's, again,
I mean, I'm sure they would have
situational.
given her a plea deal, like we'll give
I mean,
you
she would
immunity.
definitely-
or something.
Yeah.
If that were the case, she would definitely have already gotten arrested for lying to the cops.
I don't know. It's hard to say if he was involved or not. I can
Right.
see why he's a good suspect,
Right.
but
He has all the red flags.
right. But there is a possibility he just lived there and was watching football all day.
Right.
Yeah.
With no evidence at the crime scene, the case went cold and quick. They had nothing to go on. In 2018, though, in Neha, Wisconsin,
Yeah, see, Wisconsin.
a man walked into the police station and handed them a $20 bill that said, "My name is Mikelle Biggs, kidnapped from Mesa. I'm alive."
The fuck?
Mikelle's family doesn't believe that it was her handwriting or anything like that. They think that it was false because her name was spelled wrong on it,
Gotcha.
and it looked like forced childlike writing.
Gotcha. So someone was faking writing
That's
like a
fucked
kid.
up.
That's their belief. I mean,
I would believe it was a fake also if her name was spelled wrong, especially since at the time she went missing, she was 11.
Yeah, she would know how to spell
She
her
would
damn
know
name.
how to spell her name. My 5-year-old knows how to spell his name. Like, so yeah, I would say I would also believe it was a fake, but it's fucked up that somebody would do that.
absolutely. I agree
People
with you.
in this world are so weird.
Throughout the years, there have been over 150,000 flyers handed out. Police have spoken to over 50 psychics.
Psychics.
There you go. Looked into all the local ice cream truck drivers because typically those are independently
I didn't
owned.
even think of that. Like,
And-
that never crossed
Really?
my mind that it could have been the ice cream.
They could have literally been the
Like,
ice cream
me,
man.
I was like focusing on the Jeep because it would have been easy in a Jeep to drive past a kid on a bike and just pull them into the Jeep because they're missing the whole door. Like, if you don't have the door on it,
Right.
Yeah,
you could
possible.
snatch a kid off. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that
but you
anymore
also
out
got
loud.
a van with a window and a freezer
That's
on
what I'm
wheels.
saying.
Yeah.
I never
Mhm.
even thought of the ice cream truck because it's the same exact way. You still have that door that you can hang out the side. If there was
Yeah.
like 2 people in the ice cream truck, they could easily snatch a kid off a bike while it was still riding the bike.
And what a lot of ice cream truck drivers, they are independently owned.
Yeah,
like
they
it's
own
like
their.
a
It's
yeah.
like a
company ran thing.
It's like a small business.
Yep.
It's like a food truck.
Yeah, I thought ice cream truck just from reading so many Spawn comics.
I've never read any Spawn comics.
Me
so-
either, so I don't get the reference. They had also dug in 35 mines in the Santan Mountains.
Thinking she got thrown in a mine.
Yeah, they found nothing. They also looked into over 7,000 leads.
Holy shit.
This is actually described as the most expensive investigation the state has ever spent money on.
Shit.
Wow.
I could understand like the town of Mesa, but the whole state, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about all of the cases that we've talked about. We don't talk about Arizona
Yeah,
much.
Arizona doesn't seem to be a place that people.
Not a hot spot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do know of a horrible case from there, but we haven't talked about it yet.
No, not yet.
After 5 years, the family had held an empty casket funeral for Mikelle.
That'd be so hard.
She had been pronounced legally dead at this point because it had been 5 years.
Right.
Kimber has started a Facebook page for Mikelle called Justice for Mikelle Biggs, and it has brought leads, but none of them have gone very far. I leave you with the fact that obviously she's a female. She is Caucasian, was 11 years old, sandy blonde, sandy colored hair, hazel eyes, was 4'8" and 65 pounds at the time of her disappearance.
That's small.
Yeah.
She was little.
Little tiny.
If you have any information, call the Mesa Police Department at 480-644-2211.
All right. Man, I wish they had left more evidence for the police to follow
Yeah,
on
I
this
know.
one. I mean, I mean,
'Cause-
there's not even breadcrumbs.
Yeah, I know. There's not even like anything, especially since no one has come forward saying they saw anything.
Right. Well, if you out there listening to this know anything, call the number, call Mesa Police, let them know what you know. And I guess that's going to wrap it up for this week. So don't be afraid to send over your case requests to the email, speakingofmissingpersons@gmail.com. Thank you, Paula. And does anyone have any final thoughts?
Yes. We're doing extra episodes in October.
Oh, yeah.
Look out.
We're going to do some sneak peek episodes. We are starting up our new podcast after the first of the year, and we're going to be releasing some extra episodes from that podcast on this podcast in addition to our normal episodes this month. So keep an eye out for that. Check those out, and we'll get that going.
Yeah.
All right. So we will see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.